This is part 2 of trying to assess my cardiovascular ability, ideally with a high sampling rate, with an additional metric that is not my Garmin running VO2 max estimate or Garmin endurance score or my resting heart rate. 3 I just mentioned do have a little bit of a problem. The sampling of the Garmin running VO2 max estimate is dependent on how often I hit actually the threshold for a Garmin running VO2 max estimate. This, I think, for my Garmin Fenix 7S Pro is 70% of my max heart rate for at least 10 minutes in a run, which I don't always hit depending on training conditions, depending on when I actually run in the day. And also currently I do not have access to the Garmin running VO2 max estimate to pull it into the app I use for correlations, which is currently Guava Health, since basically the data is not transmitted. Now, resting heart rate is pulled into Guava Health, so therefore I can use it, but the problem with resting heart rate, in my view at least, seems to be, and also in my experience of basically taking a closer look at it over the last couple of years, is that it is inversely correlated with how much cardiovascular load I get. So Garmin load is basically a number that tries to assess how much cardiovascular, output one has currently. But I can also not pull in acute load into Guava Health. And also the question is not how much I am currently basically putting out with my cardiovascular system, but the question is how fit is it currently? And I do want this to change at a higher sampling rate. Not necessarily to change at a higher sampling rate, but I just want a higher sampling rate because then I can correlate basically changes to other changes in my health metrics, which seems to be kind of the metric I'm searching for, but currently I do not have access to the endurance score to import it into Guava Health. So the Garmin integration of Guava Health, which again is the app I use for correlations, seems to not pull in endurance score and only is able to pull in other data, more general data such as, or more common data such as sleep data, such as total slept time, the amount of REM sleep, for example. So how can I assess my cardiovascular ability? Ideally in a standardized way, which I always can do, maybe by doing a test, which would test my cardiovascular ability, ideally also using not only my lower legs for running, for example, or cycling, but my whole body. And simultaneously, because eventually a test also has to be a workout. If I do the test again and again, then the test needs to be a workout, because otherwise I need to choose either the main daily workout or the test. And if a test is not just 1 minute or 3 minutes or maybe 10 minutes, even if it's 10 minutes, it already needs to be included in my training plan. So I need basically a test which is simultaneously a good cardiovascular workout, ideally for the whole body, but also then outputs a cardiovascular score, kind of. There are, I think, 2 candidates for this. The first one is swimming. The water temperature is usually in a swimming pool kind of consistent, at least indoors. The second thing I took a look at is air biking.